So real quick, a little segue here. Peyton is kind of my direct support professional. She comes and helps me tidy up my area, my room, my computer desk.
Make sure he's meted and feted and taken care of, and his room is clean.
Room clean.
His dog is happy.
Dog happy, which I'm pretty good at that.
He's a good boy.
Right?
Yeah, you do good. You're a good dog dad.
See, I let my son sit in here and chew on his bone while we do our podcast. And
y'all seen his head move around sometimes.
You probably heard the bone. Isn't that right, Nessus? So anyway, Peyton has helped care for me and my Livy several times. And one of the biggest things, the reason that this all started was you helped me clean out my room at the ranch. So I had a room. It's where I was living with Nessus. And it wasn't the biggest room, but it was very cluttered.
It was. When I first walked in, I was just like, okay, like, it's not terrible, but there's improvement that could be made.
Just to kind of set that scene, I had 2 desks. And
you did have 2 desks.
One or 2 nightstands. One of the desks had about 5 or 6 drawers, or at least 3. I know on one side it had 3, maybe it had more on the other. Anyway, it had, I think, 4 or 5 drawers. Nothing was in the drawers.
No, they were empty. But on top of them,
it was
full of stuff.
Stacks and stacks of stuff that should have been in the drawer. Yes. And okay, this was, I'm guessing, 11 months after I had moved into that area. 14 months? I don't know.
This was a while ago too.
Yeah, it's been a while. But it's not like I had just moved in. I've been there for a while.
You had time to unpack.
I was settled. And it looked like I had just moved in and put everything on top of the desk. So what did we do first?
I didn't ask for permission. I just started kind of just sitting at his desk. He was putting his shoes on or something. So sitting at his desk, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to move some stuff around, maybe put all of his pens in like one little spot and all of his like papers in one spot. And I eventually started just kind of like organizing his desk space. So that was more, enjoyable to work at. And then he was like, oh, that looks good. Like, I like what you did there with the pens.
Let's try to get on this desk.
And then it kind of grew from there. Like, okay, like, can I please help you?
It turned into a small job.
I enjoy caring for people and organizing and making things more user-friendly and livable. And so that was a task I enjoyed, was being able to help you live an easier life. Because when your room is clean, it helps you kind of like feel better, breathe better, kind of takes out some of the stress of the day away.
I have a question. So Peyton's worked with me probably 2 or 3 separate times for several hours each time. So whenever we cleaned out that room, and then when I moved from that room to now this apartment that we're filming this at, she came and helped me organize again. And again, it was like I just moved in, except I'd been here a couple months. So she kind of, over time, I've been learning some organizational tips from Peyton, which have been super helpful. And my question is, it's probably been, 2 months since you came to help me, or a month and a half? I don't know. Anyway, how have I kept it?
Oh. I mean, better than the second time I came here.
Good. So progress.
I've been here 3 times.
All right, so I've done better. I still have some improving to do.
3 times. The second time was the worst time, but that makes sense because that was, I think, whenever you first moved back here from the ranch. So you had more stuff here. So it makes sense that was the worst time. There was just like papers everywhere. But as of right now, the floor is better. I mean, there's still like, clutter, but
my closet is good. Like I've tried to keep your organization in there, like shirts and stuff on one side and lower body, like shorts and stuff on the other side. I think I've done.
Yeah. So he's getting the organizational skills locked in his brain, which is good.
Categorizing things is one of the things I noticed that you do that's helpful for organizing. So like in my closet, previously I just had like everything in no particular order on hangers.
They weren't even on hangers.
That I didn't use.
Oh, the ones you
And then
didn't
the things
use,
that I
yeah.
did use, I had just rolled up and put into a long little
Cubby system
thing. And then you helped organize all that, so now I can more easily find my nice shirts, my dress shirts, pants, blah, blah, blah.
I see.
Oh,
You
no.
have the sleeve still stuck in that shirt. It looks like.
Don't worry about that right now.
But at least it's hung up though. It's on a hanger.
It is. It's hung up.
Because originally it was like in a bag. So there is improvement being made.
It looks great.
It does. It looks awesome. I'm proud.
I'm making improvements. So
I'm proud of you, Calvin.
Again, organization. Okay, but where we started. So the very first time Peyton helped me, she started on my desk, cleaning out the pins, organizing that space. So it is one space at a time. I noticed
Yes,
that.
that is the key thing. That's the one thing I was taught as a child is when you're cleaning a space, you're cleaning a room, don't do a little here, little here, little here, little here, because then it'll just never feel done. You'll get overwhelmed and you'll just kind of give up.
That's why I never clean my room.
That's why. That's
because
the reason.
I do a little here, a little there, a little everywhere. Actually, what I do is I think that I need to do a little here, a little there, and then I don't actually do anything at all.
Everything gets half done. It never gets fully done.
Actually, oh man, I just had the craziest realization. I think I do that on my blog post. I'll like start a blog post and I'll think, oh, I have this other idea for a blog post. So then I'll start another blog post. And then later I'll go back to the first one.
Also how you don't post things too.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's why I probably don't post them, is because maybe it's not confidence. Maybe I'm super confident.
You just need to follow through.
I just need to follow through and focus on one post. Like, this is the post I'm going to do for this week or this day. And then the next day, I get that out. And then the next one, I do all of that and do it. And not, oh, I'm going to work a little on this. Oh, I'll do that later. Oh, I'm going to work on this one. Oh, I'll do that later. And then never finish any of them.
You know what helps with that?
What?
Checklist.
Oh.
On a piece of paper, a checklist.
Okay.
Because you can't check it off until you finish it. So if you have finished it, you can't check it off until it's all the way finished.
You know what I found helpful with checklists, for me personally, is, so I do that, except a lot of people tend to, on their checklist, do like 15 things for the day or whatever. What I found helpful is this is one thing I want to do today. Like, say, publish a blog post. And then, so I'll have that as the goal, and then I'll work backwards. So what is it going to take for me to publish that blog post? So I need to do X, Y, Z, and I'll work backwards. Like, hitting the publish button is the last step.
And so you're more detailed with that.
Yeah, well, that's what has helped me, because I tend to, if I just have published blog posts, I get distracted very easily. But if I have, write the title of the post, and then write the whatever, like in steps, and then publish at the end, like, I get really excited about doing the last step, which is publish, because that's easy. You just hit the button. But it's like, I don't know, that helps me. Maybe it'll help someone else.
And going with your checklist, what works for you, because everybody's different. And because you said sometimes people put 15 things on a checklist, and it overwhelms you, and you get kind of distracted with one thing, not the other. So you like to do like small steps to get you to the main step. Is that what so the main step is posting.
Right.
And then so you have the main step of posting, and then you have little things that will accomplish that. So that's what works for Calvin. What works for me is having a checklist of like the 15 things, but then organizing them in high importance, medium importance, and low importance. So like high importance would be like walk the dog. Low importance would be shine my shoes. And then medium importance would be like take out the trash. So that way, like,
that's interesting.
You can like set your day. Okay, I need to do this. If I don't get this done, it's okay, but I still need to remember to do it. So I won't forget to do it because it's still on my list, but it's not like I don't need to do it right now. So there's many different ways to get yourself organized, whether it's having one just long list, one list of things that like, detailed and how to do the different steps to help you feel like you're actually getting it done, not get distracted. And having like other people might have like the list like me of what can I get away with doing later, what should I do now. So whatever works for you will work for you. Try different things out, and then what will help you, get the ball rolling and things accomplished.
That makes sense. So back to the organizational part, you do one spot at a time.
Oh, back to the cleaning rooms?
Yeah.
Okay.
One area at a time.
Yes.
I forgot my question already.
Yeah, you went back to cleaning rooms.
No, but so when you were cleaning off, say, my desk to start.
Okay.
We made piles, and you would do throw away, keep,
and then go through.
And go through. And the go through pile was more to figure out if it needed to go trash or recycle or keep, right?
And that was more him internally thinking, like, can I do away with this? Should I keep it? Do I need to keep it?
Have I used it in 4 years?
Yeah.
What's a good cutoff? What's your cutoff for, like, should I keep this thing that I haven't used in a year? Yes or no? Like, to me, I tend to keep everything, or most everything, because I'm like, oh, maybe this reminds me of one day when I was with my brother or something. So I don't want to throw this little piece of plastic away that is kind of useless because it reminds me of this one day that I played soccer with my brother. Like something not even that significant in life, but it's
not even that significant?
Well, I'm just saying, like, just a very that I don't have anything like that. I'm just trying to think of an example. Like, I tend to overkeep things
like a movie ticket stub.
Yeah, like that
is okay. That's okay. A piece of plastic is not okay. So like,
well, when I say piece of plastic, like, I don't have an example, but
I'm picturing like a piece of plastic.
No, actually, let's go with movie stub. So I actually have this same thing. Sometimes I keep movie stubs because I'm like, oh, I went to that movie with my dad or my mom or whatever. And then, actually, let's talk about birthday cards. This is kind of the same thing. This is where I really don't know what to do.
But with the movie stubs, real fast, is so like an example would be like Calvin's desk might be full of movie stubs from different significant parts of his life. Like, oh, when I was 12, I went to this movie, and this is this little ticket from it. So it's okay to keep them, but like they can't be dispersed. They should be like in a jar to kind of keep it, organized in one place. So that's okay, but to just kind of have, your memorability stuff.
I don't know. I think we just made that word up.
Memorable stuff. I don't
Memorabilia?
know.
Is that a word?
Memorabilia.
Let's say that it is a word. It's like a bunch of memories.
Yeah, you want to keep all your keepsakes in one place. So you don't want it to be dispersed around your room.
So I just had mine, all over my desk.
And like with birthday cards, you'd find one here in the closet, two under the bed. Like if you want to keep them, that's fine, but it's kind of have them all in one shoebox.
And Peyton, just as she is describing, she ended up putting them all in one box, and it was much more nice.
Yeah.
Because now I can go to that one box when I'm feeling sentimental or want to
nostalgic.
Look back on all of the great cards that I was given by my aunts and uncles.
Yeah. Okay.
With monkeys on them.
Or you can hang them up on your wall.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the other thing is that Calvin has a bunch of posters, and he had one that was like black and white.
I'm going to show people. You can keep
talking. Okay. And he wanted to hang up on the wall.
That's something I drew in college.
But he already has so many posters, and it looks the exact same. So you don't need to have very many of the same poster.
Now I'm showing the closet that we were mentioning earlier. So what were we saying?
That you don't need to keep all your posters. Just keep the few good ones that say like the good things.
Oh, like that poster over there?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It was like those.
That one? It's a paintball poster, okay? And
no, I'm talking about the white one from the ranch.
Oh, yeah, that's a good keepsake one. But the paintball one looks like, oh, why would you keep just a paintball poster? But Greg Hastings, he's the guy that was professional paintball player that I followed when I was younger, and he made a paintball game on the Xbox or something, and I played it a lot, and I loved that game. And then, like a couple years ago, I saw him at this gaming convention, and I saw the poster, and I was like, oh, I know, I remember playing Greg Hastings' game when I was a kid, and they're like, oh, you want to meet him? And I was like, is he here? And they're like, yeah, he's right over there, and he's dressed up in his paintball gear. showing off his newest game. And I was like, whoa, that's so cool. And he signed the poster for me. So I have that. That one's sentimental too, because it has Greg Hasty.
I wasn't talking about those.
But,
I was talking about...
But I was.
Okay.
And you're talking about the white poster. And I think that's a great keepsake. What were you going to say about that? Why is that not a keepsake?
No. Remember you had another one. Remember, because you had 2 of those?
I had like 4 of them because the ranchers left me.
Yeah, so like you had 2 of them, and one of them was just like that, but there wasn't a lot of color on it.
Oh yeah, it's very plain. Yeah.
So I was like, you don't need to keep like if you wanted to hang it up, like that one's better to hang up because it's more colorful. There's more writing on it, and the other one you couldn't do away with. I don't remember if you threw it away or if you like folded it up and put it in the closet. I don't remember. But that's an example of like what needs to be out, what doesn't need to be out.
That's a great example.
That's all I was trying to say. That was the point of the story.
That was a great story. Thank you for sharing with us.
It took a while to share.
I get distracted.
It's okay though.
Thanks.
It means you're thinking.
Thanks for letting it be okay.
Acceptance.
I get very distracted.
Acceptance is the first thing.
Is the first thing. I accept that I am very. Oh, hey, look, there's a squirrel kind of thing.
So as a direct support professional, I need to encourage him in his thoughts. So
thank you,
when
Peyton.
you find a squirrel, I'm like, oh, good job, you found a squirrel.
Thank you.
And then him and Nasus will go get it.
We'll race to it. I think that's it. Well, do you have any other organizational tips you want to share real quick? So just to recap real quick, we had organize your stuff in categories. That's a later tip, but
label stuff.
Oh, label stuff.
Label stuff.
That's one we haven't talked about yet.
Like in his, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I had the Sharpie in your closet and all the cardboard boxes in there.
That was super helpful. Yeah, she wrote what was on there, which that makes sense. But I didn't do it right.
Yeah.
I would just go in what is that box and never look in it.
So that's kind of what helps is if you're doing all your birthday cards in a shoebox and all your movie stubs in a shoebox.
You
and
can write memorabilia on it.
I think it is a word. I'm pretty sure that's a word.
Yeah, memorabilia. It's just hard to say.
So if you can label, because if you have 10 boxes on top of each other stacked in your closet of memorabilia, yeah, it sounds better the more we say it.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense to be like, okay, this is birthday cards, this is pictures, this is movie stubs, this is keepsakes. It makes your life simpler. That's part of the whole user-friendly thing that I really like. Because it saves you time having to go through everything. And then if someone was coming over, you're like, oh, let's look at pictures that, from your old photo albums and stuff. You can just easily pull out this one thing and just look through it without having to question, oh, which one is it in? So labeling stuff, he has a box in his closet of sports supplies, sports equipment that was just, around his room. Gather it up, put it in one box, so it's all in one location, and label the box sports equipment. It just makes life so much easier.
And then do that for 10 boxes, and then you have a clean room.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what you did, and it was super helpful. And now it's much easier for me to find stuff. I don't waste as much time going into my closet or stumbling around my room finding stuff. My floor is fairly clean now compared to what it was. And so now my life is easier. Thank you, Peyton.
Yeah. And that makes me feel good knowing that his life is easier.
Speaking of that, when do you want to come back and help me with my computer desk?
Oh, whenever you need me.
Because remember how we did it at the ranch? It's kind of back to papers piled up that I need to go through and should go through and get rid of the bills and stuff, but they just keep stacking.
So that's
what's some tip on that?
Piles come into
play. I have those piles that are keep piles, throwaway piles I throw away, recycle.
And
keep piles
shredding.
I keep. But then that middle pile, the go-through pile, I seem to have a go-through pile right over there across the room.
Yeah, I can see it from here.
Yeah, and that keeps growing instead of I actually went through it once and then couldn't decide, so it just stayed there. Same thing on my computer desk. Go-through pile is sitting there. I need to just pay the bills or whatever with it and go on, but it just sits there.
Bills is a different thing because bills is okay, you need to do this, but if it's
some of them are actually bills.
Well, then those need to be taken care of first. Those have pretty much priority.
But I'm having trouble doing that because I go to do them and then or get on the computer and see a button to play a video game instead, and I'll play the video game. Because that's more fun than paying bills.
That has nothing to do with organization.
Does that have to do with confidence?
No, that has to do with
Squirrel?
just like, yes, getting
Squirrel
distracted,
thing.
staying on task,
Now we'll have to do another podcast on staying on task,
focusing.
So that's Peyton. We
I
talked
am
about
Peyton.
self-confidence and organization and being a caregiver of a 31-year-old male, which is me.